my sister. All is well and getting better. I say that every time, all the time. All is well and getting better. May it be well for you too. Hello, Gabriella. Hello, hello. I am Dorian Marie. Hello, live over here on YouTube. Y'all just came in. Great. We are deconstructing religion, but we are also reconstructing our lives as we empty the pews and empty their pockets, right? Church boycott, boycotting pastors that aren't doing anything for the community, boycotting pastors and church folk in our comments. This is a place to heal, thrive, and recover. Yes. And as I review, because TikTok just hopped on, we will be talking about how pastors are abusive and also the real issue that pastors are facing today. They may not know. So if you're in here, pastors and ministers, I'm going to tell you what you're dealing with and what you're up against. I am mainly here on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, but you're welcome just to sit and chill and join us in the comments. And also, did church work for our pastors, for our parents and our grandparents? Because if church worked, if the word worked all those years, why are their offsprings? Why are the cheering that comes after them? Why are they acting like they acting when all their parents and grandparents went to church? Uh-uh. Yes, that's what we're talking about on tonight, along whatever else comes up, and whatever else we flow into. I do, hello, Blue Dream. I do allow pastors and ministers to come in the box as well as those that are in deconstruction to ask questions to these pastors and these ministers, but I will not debate Christians and church folk, laymen, those that reside in the pews, because you're just going to regurgitate and repeat what your pastor has said. We had an abusive pastor in here on my last Saturday Night Live. Very abusive pastor. It's when they think they can speak to you and talk to you any kind of way because of their title, because of their role, and they think that they have some kind of autonomy over us because they say God called them and God, ordained them to be in the pulpits. Of course, if you have questions, you can put them in the chitty chat. Thank you for sharing the live and tapping the live. All right, let's get started. If you are just joining, I am Dorian Marie, and we are deconstructing religion and we are reconstructing our lives as we empty the pews and empty their pockets. Hello, Pastor Riley. You're back again. Good evening to you. And our main topics, number one, is how pastors can be abusive. And when I say pastors, I mean bishops, elders, all the church leaders. The number one reason that pastors are struggling in the church, we're going to talk about that and give you some insight, ministers and pastors that want to know, like what's going on? Why are the pews empty? It's not just about money, okay? And also, if it worked, let's talk about our ancestors since you meant that, Gabriella. Our parents, our grandparents, if church worked and the word worked, why is the generation that came after them that they birthed and drug to church, why is the world looking the way it's looking? And we already know the common answers that they're going to say to us. Yes, all of our ancestors passed away waiting for Jesus to return. So we can hop on that one. We can hop on that real quick while we're waiting for everyone to come in here. You know, if you look at the youth of today, and even our parents, I'm 46, so I don't know what generation you all would consider yourselves. But some of the top songs, top music songs that are, that are being sung and danced to among the young people have to do with bending over, taking it in, that cooter, money. That's what it is. But these kids that are doing all that, your parents go to church. Your parents go to church, went to church. So what was the point of spending all those years in that time in the church only for this is the seed. This is what they reap. 25. Okay. So Devoncia, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. 25. Have you did you even go to church? Like did you deconstruct early? Good evening. I don't remember what you said your story was, but every time you do come up, um, I'm waiting for my pastors and ministers to come up first. You you speak of an experience that you've had in the church. You're welcome to type that in the comments. Very well. So, and if you think about it, if you've seen TikTok, Facebook, just think about some of the songs that's going around right now. Some of the major songs that our youth are screaming and yelling, commenting on themselves. It has to do with taking that D, getting that cooch, getting that paper, getting that money, right? And the girls are singing it, the guys are singing it, and everybody's, hopping around, shaking everything. But your parents went to church, and those parents went to church. So where was the breakdown? They're going to say that the enemy, he's running rampant. It's the end times, all the excuses that they always make. But if God was so powerful, if church was so powerful, I mean, come on. Our parents and grandparents, they spent hours and decades in church for their offspring to just, for this to be what the world is. Good evening to you. Denise, you on time today. Amen. I guess the Spirit has been dealing with you about getting to church on time. Just joking. Glad to see you, Denise. Yes. Mm-hmm. Why is it like this? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's going to be really good. Really, really good. YouTube's here and Instagram. Very good. You're welcome. You're welcome. Number one, we can decide where we want to start, but those are the three topics: how pastors are abusive. And pastors and ministers, if you're here, let me tell you what your issue is with the church or people that are deconstructing or what's happening. What's happening is people are now listening to your messages. They're now listening to how you talk from an awakened state. I want you to meditate on that. I want you to think about that. Hello. I really want you to think about that. People are now listening to the sermons and they're listening to you preach from an awakened state. Even if you come up in the box. Pastor Riley, why you ain't never come up in this box? Have you come up in the box before? Come on up here. Don't be scared now. Back then, you used to be able to preach and sing and do all that stuff, and people would just listen to you and hear you. Now, your problem is people are awakened. They are waking up. They're questioning. They're side-eyeing. They're tired. And that's what you're dealing with right now. People not listening and hearing you the same way they used to. Right? Totally different. Totally different. The failure is not in God, but I people, and many of the so-called pastors are not of God. Okay, King, that's your opinion, but I don't promote God, because which God are you talking about? Are you talking about the abusive God in the Bible? Or are you talking about the God that we create and say is good, but we never see that goodness? Which God? There's so many gods. Even the God of the Bible said you should have no other God. So which God? Because God always fails. The failure is always in God. He's a God that fails. And people will sing the song, God never fails. He'll never fail. You sing it at funerals over a dead body, over a corpse. Where was the success in that? He'll never fail. But they still die. Okay, the God that lived, well, you have to specify, because this is a deconstruction community and most people are coming out of, hey, JB, of the Black experience church from the Bible. That's who that is. So when you just say God, that's what people are going to refer to. So I say the same thing. I'll say, I'm God, or the God within myself, but not Mary, it's the God in me, because they're referring to Abrahamic God, the one in the Bible that slews people. Hello. And that smites everybody. That's all I'm saying. That God fails all the time. He failed from the time that they started writing about him, when man put that together. And actually, we created God. We made that up. There's no way that the God they say that we're in the image of is good. Okay. Thank you everyone for greeting everybody. If you are just joining and you couldn't find parking, and that's why you're late for our 7 o'clock service, and it was, packed out there. Thank y'all for showing up tonight. We started with how pastors are abusive and how they can be abusive, and we're going to talk about that, especially outside of the walls. They can be abusive inside the walls and outside of the walls. Okay? And then we are going to talk about the one thing that pastors are having to deal with and why they're struggling and why they find themselves in our spaces trying to hear what we're saying. And if the church worked, why is the next generation after that was drugged to church, why isn't it not working? Why is the world the way that it is? So where did you come from? So King, if you're going to go into all of that, well, then if God don't exist, where you come from? You came from me, number one. If that's what the sentence is that you're about to end on. So where did you come from? And if I told you I came from this, I came from that, what difference does it have? And what difference will it make on what the world is looking like today? We find out different facts here. We find out facts there. Okay. How is that going to change the world and what we're living in today? People are suffering today. Even if I pulled out a scientific book right now and I explained exactly where everybody came from, okay, people are still in debt, people are still hungry, people are still hot in Texas. Tell your mama to repent because she obviously didn't raise you right, or whoever. How about that? It's nothing poor about me. The fact that you're hiding in my comments with no picture tells me who's poor. Amen. Amen. Y'all don't have nothing else to do but be incognito and a bunch of cowards. So I'm going to mute you so you can sit and listen in time out. King, you're not going to finish your statement? Pastors can be abusive, like the one that came into my Saturday Night Live, and he wasn't even in the box for 2 minutes and just start going off. What I'm not going to do with you is, and we were, it was a couple of bishops, it was 2 bishops in there. It's like, what I'm not going to do with you is, trying to show me what the scripture says. And we hadn't even started a conversation, but he was so triggered because I was talking about how bishops and pastors are just men. They're just, or a woman. If you're a woman, you're just a man. You're just a woman, right? There's nothing special about you other than that title, right? And so how pastors can be abusive is when they start to condescend and talk down to you. He didn't even greet me. He didn't even say hello in a sense of, hey, what's your belief? What's your thought? So how this works, pastors and ministers, if you're going to come up in the box, it's simple. Okay, that's what you believe. I see where you're coming from. I understand that. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I believe. Okay, great. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Yes, he was a bishop. He was a whole bishop. And he came in there. I mean, I invited him up, but he was like, well, you asked me. I didn't ask him anything. But when he was, how he just came off, only because I said that bishops and pastors, they're just men. There's nothing supernatural. And he said, well, I'm attempting to show you. You don't have to show me anything. You don't have to attempt to show me anything. They come over and they try to show you things that you don't want to see, or they try to show you things that we're tired of seeing. And every time they speak, people are like, they're saying the same thing. I'm trying to show you, and I can't convince you to change. I didn't ask you to convince me to change my mind. You came into our box and into our space. And if you're listening in the background, pastors and ministers, you shouldn't be afraid to come up, but I'm a grown woman. You're not going to tell me what I'm not going to do with you, because my husband took a call and he heard the end of it. And he said he glad he wasn't in here, because he would have told you, Bishop Lot, what you're not going to do with his wife. Okay. Find out the history of religion just because people are waking up. Just wondering if you heard the confession of Pope John Francis before his demise. I did not. And if I did, I don't remember. I try to forget a lot of things. Even the stuff I learned in seminary, I try to forget in different things. But please comment, tell me, or send me a link and tell me what his confession was before his demise. Pope John Francis. And Denise, you're hitting on one thing I was talking about with pastors. People are waking up, and that's the number one issue that pastors have today. They're like, we're still preaching the same scriptures. We're still doing the same gimmicks. We're still grifting. We're still, entertaining and bringing in guest artists and bringing in this person to come in. Why aren't they responding the same? Because people are now listening to you from an awakened state. For many years and decades, people listened to pastors and ministers from a sleep state, from a conditioned state, a programmed state, an indoctrinated state. Now people are waking up, getting up, spiritual crust out of their eyes and like, wait, what? Tithing what? I got to do, wait, what? You bought another car, what? They're not looking at it as my pastor is blessed. My pastor, he's prosperous. They're looking at it differently. My pastor doing something that I ain't doing. Like maybe I need to become a pastor. And that is what a drug dealer told me. He said, that's what a drug dealer said. And I put it in a book. He said that the reason he stopped being a drug dealer to become a pastor is because we're both pumping poison into the community. I'm just not getting shot at. And it's just safer. Yes. Did somebody, let me see. Gabriella, were you wanting to say something? You want to come up in the box? King Wayne, I ain't heard you no more. I guess you got my point, right? Because it doesn't matter where we came from. We're not going to get into all that. Who did you help today, King Wayne? Y'all want to talk about facts and where we came from and history. What about the present? Who did you help today? Like financially, who did you help? Who did you serve today? How did you make the community and the world a better place? That's what matters. Not where you came from and where I came from. Jamal Bryant now speaking, people are not paying tithe because they know it is not biblical. He said something too, that the offerings were down 12 to 14%. That was my awakening. Pastor driving a Porsche, no heat AC in the church. My goodness. So it's really simple, pastors. If you came to get a word, that's the word for you on tonight, ministers. Go and tell all the rest, tell the others. People are not listening to y'all the same way. It's not that they're just not listening. They're not listening the same way. They're listening, they're hearing, right? And thank you. And they're receiving it a different way. So ministers, pastors, elders, you can come up in the box. Just don't be afraid. I don't bite. My mods do. But we are emptying the pews and emptying your pockets, and we're filling our own pockets. And that is my mission. That is what I am here to do, to help and assist those that are already waking up. I'm not here to convince anybody. But some of you are like on the edge. You don't know what to do. Ooh, what do I do? Do you have debt? Are you tired of your pastor? Here's your commercial. Are you tired of your pastor driving a Porsche when there's no AC or heat in the church? You can't pay your bills. Are you tired of giving offerings every week and you see no change in your finances? Stop giving to the church. Do you have debt? Stop giving to the church. Do you have a savings? Stop giving to the church. Can you help a family eat for 3 days just on your debit card alone? Then stop giving to the church. No fine print. Fund yourself first. The church doesn't need your money. I need to get a shirt that says that the church doesn't need your money. Pastors do not need your money. For what? I mean, you're already going to a job that you don't like to give money to a place that doesn't need it. Listen, if you want to go, take your Bible. Some of you have your Bible on your phone. Get dressed. Get your cheering. If your husband, y'all go. Go in there. Hi to the ushers. Hey, will you see? Oh, we're going to sit. Okay, it's 4 of us. Sit down. Sponsored by EP. Oh, baby, right there. That's what I'm talking about. Sponsored by EP, right? Sit down. Okay. Listen to the praise and worship leaders scream, yell, do whatever they do. Watch the praise dancers twirl. Okay. Listen to the pastor. Do whatever you do. Okay. When the offering bucket, if they do it that way, let it pass you on and go home. God is supposed to be free. Jesus didn't take up offerings like that. Even if he did, I would rather give Jesus all my money watching him give back limbs and getting rid of leprosy. Leprosy mean it gone. Like you ain't got nothing there. And then boom, because the leprosy done ate it up. I would gladly give an offering to Jesus Christ. Gladly. But why? I'm going to this job, getting yelled at by my boss 40 hours throughout the week. My coworkers aren't doing their part, so I'm having to do more. If you're a teacher, these kids get on your nerves, and you finna take 10% of that money and go give it to a pastor? Are you tired of paying your pastor's car note? Stop giving to the church and fund yourself. That's the whole message. Empty their pockets and then fill your own. Then we won't, I mean, TikTok will probably be boring other than the stuff that goes on outside of the church because we keep seeing all this foolishness. Somebody sent me something today where a pastor was like, you're supposed to pay the pastor first, then you pay the church bills. We wouldn't have to keep sending these things to people and watching all these pastors do dumb stuff in the pulpit if we'd stop funding them. And I've talked about this before during the BLM movement. Defund the police, defund the church, defund the pastors. And I know some of you church folk on Instagram, TikTok, I'm on 3 different platforms right now. I know y'all in the background, like she wrong, she don't know. That's because you want to get paid. You want to get a check. Here's the thing. I don't get a salary. I don't even get paid, but you want the role, you want the title. You still want to be up there. You still want people looking at you because you have yet to find out who you really are outside of that title, outside of that role. So you still need that space in that place. You should get tired of funding your pastor. You should get tired of it. Come on, Denise, you preaching on tonight. Pope John Francis confessed that religions were not real or true, but only created to usher in world colonization through the doctrine of discovery. He confessed this and apologized for it. Okay, yes. I thought it was something else. Yes. And we even learned some of this in seminary school. Not this particular John Francis, but I mean, this particular Pope. But we learned that that's what the religions were for. Okay. That's what it was for. It was to control and bring people in. People were just doing whatever they wanted to do. And then people say, well, if you take away the church and you take away the pastors, the world just going to go to shit. It's just going to be bad. Look around. Look around. You see all the stuff that's happening in the world. And I talked about the generation that we're in right now, right? Y'all know some of the songs that are out right now, especially in July, the Bend Over song. Just lift your hands all over the building if you know what that song is I'm talking about. That's the song Bend Over that the youth, especially in Florida, everybody's chanting it. They're chanting the lyrics to bend over and chanting the lyrics to spin that, right? But your parents went to church. Not every Black person. Collectively, Black people do church. They'll go to the funerals, weddings, and all that, and they'll go to service every now and then, but Black people, not anymore as like they used to, but I'm talking about our mothers, our grandmothers. They all went to church for decades, and they drug us and they brought us there and they made us go. Where's the fruit of that? Nobody talks about the fruit of the people that were drugged to church by their grandparents and their mothers. We're always talking about the money that we lost, the money we wish we had. We gave all that money for 20, 30 years. Now look, we still broke and we still don't have what we need. Okay, what about the time invested? We all had to wear the big old fluffy dresses and stand in front and do Easter service, those little speeches and the fluffy socks. All that money they spent week after week dressing us up, making us sit in Sunday school, making us wear these different colors, bows, hair bows, and for little boys, little suits, all those decades. And then it produced adults. Then those adults produced children. You would think the world would be a better place. Just forget the healing, forget the miracles. Why didn't church work? Yes, some people needed it to help them stop drinking, to stop cheating, to stop doing all the things. I get it. That's because they believed that that would work. They believed in that. They believed that this is my answer. So they got the answers they needed while they were there. We're talking about collectively. Let's not talk about the money. Let's not talk about the miracles. What about just being in church all those years? Why are the youth of today not replenishing that same faith? Mama's faith, Nana's faith. Why? They're going to say it's the end times. There's going to be a great falling away. Well, then the Bible and all of that was a waste. It was weak. It was a waste for our people, grandparents and moms, to go. But it didn't produce a better society. It failed. Pope John Francis says that they created it to usher in world colonization. And, also part of that is control. But it failed because people still doing what they want to do. like our youth right now, the young folk in the 20s and some of the adults in the 30s and 40s singing bend over, spin that. And there's a new one that they're saying, daddy, do it or something, do it, daddy, stick it, daddy. And they're just playing it over and over. And it's just about a boy sticking it or a man sticking it to her. Just stick it. Hit it, hit it, hit it. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I say stick it, do it, do it. You know what the do is. Y'all fornicated, probably still fornicating. Right? That's what oh yeah, and quiet on the creek. And everybody just this what the youth doing. Every time you open up the app, somebody, right? But your parents went to church but they believe in God, but pray. Why did it what was the fruit? What was the fruit of sitting in there? And that new one, I just recently heard that one. Do it, stick it, do it. It hurt, daddy. Do it, daddy. And they're just playing it over and over. Her song is going to #1. It's like they went from bend over, take all the D. And you know what D is? I'm the type to bend over, take all the D. And little girls are singing it. Oh yes. You know, the young girl, rest in peace, that was recently unalived in Florida. Her song went viral after she passed away. And basically, as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, her and other people wrote on the song, I'm the type, meaning like I'm the type of girl to bend over and take all the D. I'll bend over and take all that and my coochie do that, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? And they're singing and saying it without yeah, our grandparents and they would definitely roll over. But your parents go to church. I'm the type to bend over. Yes. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, where's the fruit of all that shouting for 30, 40 years, all that communion, all those 3 o'clock services, all those suits that they would buy for themselves? Right? What was the other one? It was another song. How is it that the church gets blamed for everything that goes on in this community? I don't think the church is getting blamed for everything that goes on in this community. You just ask Alexa to play it. Yeah, bend over. It's got the word cunt, but I can't say either one of those words. Runt, but with the C in it, and they just singing it. Yeah, Reggie, who says that the church is being blamed for everything in the community? And is that even an appropriate question when you look at the community and the fact that there are 20 churches on every corner in the community? So we're not saying that the church is getting blamed, but they should be, and they could be. And if they are, rightfully so. You got 20 on one corner and the neighborhood looks like crap. People still got bars on their window. If they even have windows. They may have some foil or some wood. So don't come in here with that weak crap, Reggie, unless you got something to say. What have you done for the community today? Please tell us today, Reggie, what did you do? Who did you feed? Who did you clothe? Who did you help get a job? They were shouting in the church, but bending over immediately after. Ooh, that hit me right there. That's why the young folks singing it, because their parents and grandmothers was doing it, and now they just singing it. Bend over, ma. And the one who wrote Bend Over, you know, her mom said she goes to church where she had the funeral because she passed away. That was her church home, and they go to church. And your daughter just made this #1 song that's going across the country. It's not about judging them. I'm talking about how the church is involved. Your resume can't match mine in the community, but my spelling and grammar can. 3-time author here. You must have meant to write or type. Your resume can't match mine in the community. I can guarantee you that you're talking to the clubs, the rock. I don't know who I'm talking to because I can't understand what you're saying. Reggie, shut the hell up. You know why? Because you don't know me. No, effective communication is being a listener. You know, a part of effective communication, you're talking to a whole certified teacher. Effective communication also involves listening. I've only been on live for 32 minutes. I don't think I've ever interacted with you. So you don't know what I know. You don't know what I've done. And you're coming in the middle of a conversation trying to interject and assume that you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what you mean. You said the clubs. Rewrite that, and then we can have a real conversation. No, we cannot, because you came in here being rude. You didn't even say hi. This is my platform. Say, hey, sis, why don't you come up in the box? How is the church? You're literally came. See, y'all think I'm stupid, but I'm not. You came in here being defensive. Your first interaction with me was defense instead of saying, yeah. You don't have to say hi, but everybody that came in here was like, mostly everybody's like, hey, hey, hey. But the first interaction, and this is why I deal with church folk and pastors, nothing can get done because you all don't have social skills. Hey, sis, let me come up in the box. Let me ask you this real quick, sis. It seems like versus you saying, how is it that? So you're saying that the church gets blamed for everything. Did you hear me say that? I didn't say that. You never heard me say that. You've only been on, I don't know how long you've been in this live. You never heard me say that. And I'm not being rude. I'm showing you yourself. That's it. That's how you church folk and religious folk come in here. No social skills. Before you send us to hell, I'm not talking about you. People will come in here and say hell before they say hi. Your very first interaction was defensive. It should have been, if you want to talk about effective communication, that's how you communicate effectively. Sis, so are you saying? Ask me what I'm saying. Now you're not saying nothing. I'm very chill. Okay, I'm defensive about the church. Okay, my name is Dorian Marie. How you doing, Reggie? We can talk. And I agree with you that it's okay for you to be defensive. Yes, it's okay for you to be defensive about the church. And you know what? If people want to say I'm rude and defensive, I'm that way about people that are in a safe space. So just so you know, Reggie, this is a deconstruction space where we heal, thrive, and recover when people have left the church. So I get real defensive and protective over the people that are here because good. I'm glad you're fine. I'm good. I get defensive and I wouldn't even say defensive. I get protective because I created this space and we left the church to get away from people coming to accuse us and assume and talk to us any kind of way. Pastors and bishops come in here. What I'm not going to do with you, hello, how are you? Bishop. Okay. So you say you're defensive about the church. Do you want to come up and are you a minister? First of all, are you a minister or are you a pastor? You're welcome, Reggie. You're welcome. I told you I don't bite. My mods do. They're not up here tonight. They probably just in the chat. But are you a minister? Are you a minister on the roster, Reggie? Because for you to be defensive of the church, either you're a minister or you're just, you're a pastor. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed, House of Stella. Yes, indeed. Hello, host. TikTok church people are just TikTok. They are not real believers. Ooh. See, Reggie, I ain't even say that. I ain't even say that. I hear you, King Cobra. They're not real believers. And why, I asked Reggie, are you defensive of the church? Why are you defensive of the Black church who collectively and mostly, I'm not going to say all, but all are not doing anything for the community? Okay. Look at the community. Look at the plight of us. Hey, from London. Hi, Natty from London. Welcome in. We're talking about pastors that can be abusive and some church folk. You see, Reggie, you part of the topic. How y'all could be so abusive. And I'm gonna get more into that, and I'll explain what I mean by that, Reggie. And how pastors are having to deal with people listening to them from an awakened state. And also, no, that's not you, Reggie. Ladylike what? Ladylike church girl. Did you mean to come up or did you just like the live? Ladylike church girl. And we're also talking about how the church did it work. Why didn't it work? Look at the way that the world is right now. Mm-hmm. Ladylike church girl. So you're a church girl. So Reggie, why are you so defensive of a place? Oh, you did? You meant to come up? Are you a Christian? Are you a church girl? Like just layperson or, I haven't had a woman come up in a minute. Are you a Christian? That's all I want to know first. Are you a church girl? Are you a first lady? In Europe, they do not follow any religion. We're all moving there. Just kidding. Which they force on our people across the globe. Why do our people still follow it? Talk about it. You're in deconstruction? Okay. You're an ordained minister. Okay, Reggie, do you want to come up in the box? I'm serious. Like, we can have a conversation. I have conversations with bishops and pastors all the time. It's not a thing. Go on, ladylike.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad I came across your page. So,
Good.
I was like out in the hallway listening at first, and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And whenever you said that you're a 3-time author, this is a book title, and I'm not here to advertise. But then I went on your page and I seen the thing about somebody reaching out to you, and I don't want to trauma bond with you, but I'm supposed to be here. My book, I think we've experienced the same thing, right. And I'm just glad I found you.
Well, good. Good to be here. My name is Dorian Marie. I am deconstructing religion and also assisting people, recovering Christians that are deconstructing to reconstruct their lives. I have been in the church for over 25 years. I was married to a pastor and an ordained worship leader, ordained minister. I went to seminary school. So this is not some little gig I do. I literally help people and assist people that are deconstructing. And that's why we're here to empty the pews, empty their pockets.
That's the book name?
Yes, that's the book name right here, yes. Empty the pews.
That's fire.
Yes. Empty the pews, empty their pockets. And so, Reggie, I don't know if you want to read this, lady. Like, I don't think he would want to read it, but a lot of pastors do read it because they want to know what's going on and they want to know what we're talking about. And I spend an extensive time talking about what is the purpose of a pastor? Why do we pay a pastor?
10%.
Yes, tithing is not required. Since you're talking about 10%, tithing is not required. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't flip my screen. I rebuke all of y'all for not letting me know that. Right now. Rebuked. Yes, tithing is not required. All the things. Church mothers, being obese in the church and gluttony and all the things.
Okay. And being mean.
I'll talk about that too. Those mean church mothers. There's a whole chapter on that.
I have found my people.
Here we are.
I just had to come up and tell you, I'm glad to be here. I'll be listening. Okay, so I'm older and I just figured out I normally gift with what I've been gifted with. And I can, for some reason, it's not letting me add my card. But if you put your Cash App up,
I didn't hear the rest of that. See, look at the enemy. The enemy didn't want.
Go. You're trying to stop using the word bless you.
Okay.
I want to bless you. I want to,
Yes. You want to, I get what you're saying. You want it in energy exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put it in and I appreciate it.
Okay.
I thank you so much. I'll see you in the chat.
Welcome.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have to remember what my Cash App is. Welcome, welcome. The Bible does say that. It does say that pastors, condemnation for leading the people astray. Yes. Thank you so much. Next time. Reggie, did you say you were going to come up? You said that's fine. So Reggie said he's an ordained minister. And he said to me, why is it that the church always gets blamed for what's happening in the community? Let me just read it so I can say it right before I say what I'm about to say. You said, how is it that the church gets blamed for everything that goes on in this community? The issue is that nothing is going on in the communities because of the church. When I say nothing, I'm talking about in comparison to how much the pastor is receiving. Okay, y'all did a back to school event. Woo, whoop, yay, great. Tornado hit the city. Now y'all are giving water that y'all probably got from FEMA or food banks. Okay, y'all do something every now and then. But if we still have to do all of those things while the pastor is driving this, the church looks better than the houses that are in the community. Me and my husband is, he was married. I mean, his dad is a pastor. And when we got married, I was deconstructing. He was still in the church. And we drove around to where he used to preach. 5 churches in one community, including his dad's. 5 in one small community. Those churches were laid. They looked nice. And the houses were raggedy. So Yes, and I give to, when it comes to money, I saw that comment. I give to a home that I've actually walked into. Hey, Reggie, I see you. And I'll let you go ahead and speak in a second. I give to, my son is 21, he's autistic. So I went to my hometown, and I can put that information in there. I'm sorry, I forgot to put my cash app. I think it's I Am Dorian Marie. I got big hairs from an album cover. It's from this album. You'll see this album cover right here, if you can see that. But that's my cash app. I'm so sorry. Or my CS. I guess we're not supposed to say that. So I sow there. I give directly to that home because I walk through it, and it's a home that houses young girls who are diagnosed with ED. I used to be a special ed teacher, and autistic girls. So if you're looking for a place to give directly to the need, me and my husband, I'm going to post a video too. I didn't post too much of the house for their protection, but there's rooms. The house is fully, you know, is fully stocked with food and clothes. It's for girls that nobody wants. Their mamas can't handle them. Nobody can handle them. And it's called EHFC, and I'll put it in there. I met with Dr. Zabiri myself. I'll post a picture of him and myself and my husband. We were in front of the home. It's a girl's home. And I looked at their license, all the things. And it's touching for me because my son is autistic. So that's a place that I give to, and where you can donate money. Okay. Minister Reggie, how do you want to be called?
That's fine.
Reggie.
Am I on?
You're on.
Oh, okay. I'm a little, older, so I'm not really hip all the way to the technology. I just want to be clear. Number one, I'm not your enemy. And so I'm not here to try to get in a contentious, abusive dialogue.
Correct. And we don't do that here. Yeah, we don't do that here.
Right. So, and I apologize if it started off wrong.
That's okay. It usually does.
But I am here. I'm, as you know, being trained as an ordained minister, we're really not supposed to engage,
go back and forth,
defensive, go back and forth. So I'm not about faith.
Right.
I don't want to do that, and I don't know that we're talking about faith as much as we're talking about an institution.
Yes, Reggie. See, we're on the same page. We really are, and I'll say this to you so that you have an idea where you want to go. That's why I don't really pull up Christians or church folk, because I'm talking about like the lay people, because they're just going to go back and forth about scripture and regurgitate what they've already heard and what somebody told them to say. This is about, like you said, the actual church, and boycotting churches that are not doing anything for the community. We know that it's not all churches. And so that's the kind of conversation. And what I've done with bishops and elders is I'll say what I'm thinking or how I feel about it. They'll address, well, I don't get paid, or this is how our church does it, and this is how we do it. So we just ask each other questions, and we just talk about what we feel the problem is. But then pastors will come over here, like you said, and I've told them that there's at least three scriptures. First Peter, all of them tell you not to go back and forth, not to debate. It's useless about scripture.
Right. And so I'm not going to talk about scripture as much as I'm going to talk about the church.
Okay.
And I'm going to hopefully provide some insight, because the church does more. When I hear different conversations, and it's becoming more and more prolific in the Black community, and from a spiritual standpoint, it's almost, to me, it's almost to see the rise of white supremacy, the rise of hate against Black folks, and then Black folks who are not just turning against the church, they're turning against, in some instances, against God.
Mm-hmm.
And then wondering why, I'm looking at a parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Almost so like when Moses went on the mountain, came down, and everybody was doing everything they wanted to do, God wiped out an entire generation. So
mm-hmm.
But that has nothing to do with this conversation. So what I've seen is my pastor write checks for rent, for electricity, for individuals whose sons have died and they have nowhere else to go, and so they need funerals. We've consistently and opened our doors, and I'm not saying that our church is perfect,
mm-hmm.
in turn, and I don't know what a perfect church looks like.
But
the truth is, 80% 80% of churches are really almost bankrupt. I'm talking, you got a lot of mom and pop with about 20 people that come every week to keep the place open. About 70% of pastors work a second job. This isn't what there was a time period, probably from the 70s on up through the 80s to the 90s, where a lot of traditional stuff was going on, and you know, the word said there would be a falling away. So now you've gotten people to really have a relationship. We need an institution in our community that where the doors are open for emergencies, for town hall meetings, for us to come together as a people. And this is what the church has served throughout the history of time. No other institution in the Black community has given their lives as many leaders as we have given in terms of people who've been assassinated. You tell me another institution who has given more for the Black community than the church from the history of time. I mean, from our history being here in America, there hasn't been. And so instead of, certainly we need an institution for faith believers who believe in Christianity that is righteous and about relationship and about doing the right thing.
So Reggie, because this is a deconstruction community, we're not wanting to believe that, or we're not believing that anymore. So that's where the breakdown is. And I'll share this too. When you said that you're here to defend the faith, then the faith is the faith, not the church. And so, right. But then also when you say you've watched pastors write checks, you've seen that over here in deconstruction, we've paid rents too. We've all come together. We've paid rents. We've paid light bills. We've done the same thing. So our message is this: if churches are broke and they're struggling to survive, they still collect money. They still ask for offerings and tithes. That means if the church is suffering, that means the people are suffering. So what we need to do, right? That means a bishop was up here on Saturday, and I asked him, wait, do you have a church, or are you just a minister at a church? You're a minister at a church. Okay, boom. That's what you're still, who I want up here. I asked a bishop who has a church and a congregation. I said, how are the people doing financially? And I'm going to have y'all come up to, some people may want to ask you questions. I don't bite. They might. I don't know. But you're fine. You're not scared. And like you said, you're not scared. You're good. And I said, how are your people doing financially? And he said they're suffering because the economy is tight. I disagreed that that's the reason why, Minister Reggie. And then he goes, I said, well, what about their health? I said, because I know personal trainers that can come in and help them. He said, well, my people are not healthy because they're obese, and they're not walking in full health because they eat bad and they don't exercise. And so I asked him a question, which he never got back with me. I said, what if I send somebody in there and you paid to sponsor 10 people to physically train your people? He never responded to me, because I know that them being sick and suffering is job security for some pastors. So here's what I'm saying. Where we are, when you say the church is suffering, people are, everything that the church does, we can do without a middleman. We can do without a pastor. And pastors and bishops are disagreeing, saying, well, who's going to teach you? Teach us what? This is the era, and this is the age of Aquarius, where knowledge is right there. Everything do it yourself is right there. And you said that, you're here. We need an institution that preaches the faith in God and the Bible, the same. And how do you feel about preaching that colonized religion that was given to us during slavery, right? How to make a Negro Christian. That wasn't us. That was given to us and that was put on us. And then we have pastors continue to preach it, yet our people are still broke. Here's what you say, and I'll let you answer that. You talk about, we need that for our people, but the people are broke still, struggling still, unhealthy still. And you say, what other institution has given to the Black community? You're giving food, stuff that we can do ourselves, but then you're also giving what we consider lies, because I don't know if you went to seminary. I went to seminary, and we learned all this stuff about what's true and what's not true, but you're still giving them that book. I don't care if y'all pay everybody's rent. If you're still preaching hell, heaven, Jesus, the slave master's religion is not helping us. Go ahead, Minister Reggie.
Okay. First off, well, if there is a disagreement of faith of what the tenets or let me get my, because I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
The principles, if the principles of what we believe, we're not going to have a healthy conversation.
We won't.
If we're not talking about, because my faith is I believe in Jesus Christ.
Right.
And here's what I know: the white man can't give you God.
But where did you get God from? No, I'm just saying, where did you get God? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because I understand. Let me show you how it works. Because I understand my people that are following in our group. We don't want to be preached to. We don't want to hear what we already heard. We just kind of want to stick to like you just said, we won't agree because you just said, I believe in God. We don't. And so, right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. My space. Hey, y'all go ahead and don't believe in God. I'm good.
Oh, look, now so you can't handle it. You can't. Now you want to run. No, I got.
To talk about.
But
don't believe in God.
But Reggie.
You don't believe in God. Why am I here?
Reg. Now see, you can't handle it. You can't handle it.
I can handle it.
Well, if you can, let's bring it down to 2 because I had 2. I
just get hyped.
I understand. I had 2 bishops in here, and I had a bishop stay with me for a whole hour, and he didn't believe. No, listen to what I'm saying. He knew I didn't believe in God, but we knew how to have a conversation, even though we did not believe in the same thing. And so when you say, I believe the white man can't give you God, you got God from the white man. You created God. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just
from the white man.
Okay. I'm talking about the God of the Bible and the church.
He can't give me God. He's not God. If you believe that God gave us the white man gave us the white
religion.
Man gave us the white man gave us English. We're speaking his language right now. But here's the thing: when we began to read the book,
Oof. You like that God in that Bible? Where did he go? It's the internet. Reggie, where'd you go? Go ahead, Mo. Ask a question just in case. Maybe he took a call. Maybe he's going to go talk to God.
Okay. I was trying to hang up on him. But
okay.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's what our ancestors understood when the master came over and said, "Read this book," blah blah blah. Right? They began to have a relationship, a spiritual relationship that said, "This white man don't have it. He didn't have the relationship. How else can you beat a people, harm a people, break a people, be as destructive and hurtful, and still talk about you had a form of religion?" So when we began, my spirit relates to God's spirit. That's what I have. I don't have what they have because they can't. A man can't give me God. That's all I'm saying on that.
Okay.
So
the
white man never gave us God, and we had that before we birthed the white man. So how could he give us anything?
But it wasn't the God of the Bible. Do you actually like that God in the Bible? Do you know from the start? Would you kick your child out of the house for the first sin? Would you drown your kids because they didn't listen to you? Would you put your child on an altar? Do you really like the God of that Bible? How are we made in that? None of us are made in that image because none of us would do our kids the way that book tells us to do.
All right. Hey, you all have a great evening.
Wait, Reggie, wait. Somebody wants to ask you a question.
I love my brothers and sisters.
Wait, before you leave. Okay, hold on, Black Bunny.
Then I'm gonna start preaching.
We can okay. Let me address that. Let me address that, Reggie. And Black Bunny wants to. I'm sure they want to ask you.
Yes.
We're not gonna fall out. You know what? Here's what I want you to hear. We're not gonna fall out if you can choose humanity over Christianity. That means I'm not gonna. But if all you can do is preach, that shows the colonization, the program, the indoctrinated. If people can't just ask you a question and just you answer, and even
you can ask a question, but here's the thing: in order for me to defend the faith, I got to speak scripture. I got to speak what God puts on my heart for my people to know.
Okay, I'll let Black Bunny.
Right.
I'll let Black Bunny go.
How you doing?
Right. It is what it is.
Okay.
Hi, Reggie. Good evening.
Good
Hey,
evening.
how are you?
I'm good. I had a question when you just came on because I know the first thing that stood out to me that you said that you were defensive.
I am a defender of the faith. I'm called to defend the faith of Christ.
Okay, so when you saw the this collective on TikTok, what was it that made you stop to feel like there was something you needed to defend?
Well, I immediately saw it, and the sister said, and I don't know, can't quote what the sister said, but I thought it was something about twerking and the church. And my question, and because I've heard so much condemnation about the church, and we listen to the radio station our whole lives. Nobody points to the radio station that played this music. I'm in the car with my two daughters. I'm in the car taking my daughters to school. Right? I got two daughters. We're in the car going to school. It's about 9 a.m. I got my t-shirt and my panties on. I look back. My daughters, who I bring in church, whatever, are singing this satanic music, right? So, but you don't never hear anything, no condemnation about hip hop music, no condemnation about the sexuality of the entertainment industry. You got a whole basketball wives, the baddies, and all of that, and plenty of girls are watching that more than going to church. Half of these people twerking ain't never even been in a church place. But yet the church is always the one to get blamed. We don't never say nothing about the clubs or anything else.
You know why? Let me tell you why, and I'll let you go, Black Bunny. Hold on, Black Bunny. Hold on. Hold on, Black Bunny. The reason why we don't talk about the clubs and we don't talk about all these, you don't talk about the clubs and the drug deal and all, because they don't tie their message to salvation, the afterlife, and the blessings of God. The church does. The church puts these demands about giving this. You got to be here. The clubs don't do that. They don't say, if you don't come, you going to hell. If you don't come, you're not going to be blessed. Now, hold on one second, everybody. Now, are you ready to come up? He says he has to go in 2 minutes. I did want him to come up. I only care. Are you ready? He's got 2 minutes. You hear? Okay, go ahead. And then he's got to go to work, and then we can go.
Okay, let me go ahead and sign for this. First and foremost, he said he's here defending the faith.
Yeah.
Faith is an offspring of the term belief. And the Webster's Collegiate Dictionary of belief is something that's taken for fact when truth is nowhere in existence. There's a whole bunch of stories that came 2,000 to 3,000 years prior to this Jesus Christos character you call Jesus Christ, that were all born December 25th, called the truth of light, the Alpha and Omega, was killed, was resurrected 3 days later. The original story didn't talk about one person that was on the externalization of the human body. The original story talked about the different aspects of the inner God that is within you. Just like the current Bible says, the kingdom of God is within you. If I'm a king and I'm in my kingdom, I'm inside of my kingdom, or whatever the book so-called says. A faith that you follow now has nothing to do with the original form of what spirituality was originally. No master and a slave can worship the same master. First of all. Second of all churches, and this is saying the same thing. This is something you can find. No, we're not. We're saying something completely different. You worship Jesus. You worship Jesus. Jesus doesn't translate no further back than Greek. The Greek pronunciation of it is Iesous. The English the English translation of that is Iesous Christos. It means Zeus, all hail Zeus. That's what Jesus Christ means modernly. It has no kind of connection nor correlation to the original form of spirituality. The only reason why we get the letter J was created by a Catholic group named Galileos, who was experimenting with the I and put a hook on the I and made it J.
We know that there are many names for God.
Yahweh, what you claim to follow.
Yahweh is Yahweh a name of God? See, now we got to get into
Yahweh is the English rendition of Yud He Wah He. I break down Hebrew. I speak the Hebrew.
It doesn't make a difference. Whatever you call it.
Anything
what I believe is listen.
You ain't supposed to be talking. You ain't supposed to be talking right now.
You say you got 2 minutes.
Well, he's got 2 minutes. You got to give it to him.
How many minutes have I had?
No, keep going. You got to give it to him, and he's going to end up leaving. Keep going.
There is any and everything that is purposely changed. If there was no difference to what we were saying, the scripture would have never been changed. The perception of God being on the outside of somebody instead of internally would have never changed. Everything that you see that's completely different from its origin is changed for a reason.
So there's no way I'm gonna be able to debate all these points. You do understand that?
Because I've been doing this since I've been shutting pastors and preachers down since I was 14.
Well, you probably have. You can't shut me down.
No, we don't want to shut you down, Reggie.
Whatever you're dealing with your faith, I need you to comprehend this. Whenever you're dealing with your faith and a belief, no. When you're dealing with your faith and your belief, you're dealing with an emotional reaction that you get from that. You're not supposed to be emotional. No. You're not supposed to be emotional about anything until you take it through your mental facilities first and decide whether it belongs to your feelings or your emotions.
Okay. Now here's
okay. Go ahead, Reggie.
What I'm saying, brother. Faith. You use the definition for what belief is. For me, faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Hold on. Let him finish. Let him finish.
You're saying for you.
Let him finish.
No, who are you to define what it is? Who are you to define what it is? Who are you to define what? You can't define my reality. You can't define my reality, my man. But here's all I'm saying. That's what you say. That's what you say.
Okay. All right. So. Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say, when I hit my knees tonight, when I hit my knees tonight, my prayer is internal. That's when I said when I said he's saying the same thing. We may be saying what the denominator is. I'm praying to a spiritual God, a spiritual being. I don't care what the white man tried to do or what shows up in Greek. Amen. When
hold on. Let him finish.
My faith is based off of what I choose. My belief in Jesus Christ. My belief in His Spirit that He lives within me. Right. So there is no debate about faith. We can't debate that. You believe, you got your beliefs, fine. You want to believe in evidence-based theories? Okay, that's fine. I need
Hold on, let him finish. Hold on, let him finish.
So that's all I have to say. That my God is a spiritual God that goes beyond anything that man has tried to distort or turn away from.
So Reggie, listen to this. You be over here in Black Bunny, you can go, and then I think it was Goddess and Mo, whoever was next. There are people over here in this community. Some of them still believe in God. Not everybody does not. Like, we've come out of the church, but there are some people that still believe in God. There are some people that still pray. There's still some people that read the Bible, but they don't deal with the church. It's like a mix, right? So I get what you're saying, that you still believe in a spiritual God, no matter what the white people have done. Huh?
You did, man.
What the hell? Yeah. So I get what you're saying there, right? Because everybody's on different planes. I think what we were expecting as a minister is for you to like hear, and somebody asked, what would it hurt if you would just embrace humanity just for a few minutes versus Christianity? And like, just to hear, like the Bible does say, to be slow to speak, quick to hear, because everything that you're going to preach, right. What you've preached, what you're like, when you say, I have to defend the faith. Well, if you did want to reach us, you can't hear what we're trying to say or what we're saying, because you're already ready to defend with the scriptures that we've already sung, scriptures that most of us have preached, scriptures that we've listened to, we've heard, and we've spoken for decades. So I'm gonna let Black Bunny go, and then Mo, you can go, and then Goddess. Go ahead, Black Bunny. Give about a minute.
Yes, I just wanted to just give some information to Reggie, and I did a lot of research. And I just started by reading How to Make a Negro Christian. And I just started going down the rabbit hole from there. So I just wanted to give you that piece of advice.
Okay, Mo, go ahead. Oh, did you want to respond to her? Reggie, you can.
No,
Okay, go ahead, Mo.
But what I wanted to respond very quickly before Mo goes is the reason that I'm defending the faith as an ordained minister, because if somebody's, for those who don't believe God, somebody's life is at risk. Somebody's chance at eternal life is at risk, according to what I choose to believe. So why would I not want to defend the faith? And my expectation is that, hey, we always look to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Right.
Christian lives overall are better than non-Christian lives.
That's a lie. That's a lie, Reggie. That's a lie.
Look at the stats.
Some of us are willing
Look at
to
the stats.
burn
But
the
go ahead, man.
Okay, Mo, before you go,
sorry.
hold on, Mo, before you go, when
I'm
you,
sorry.
that's okay, Mo, before you go, when you said that, what was the point that you just made, that not the one before that Christians are doing better? Oh, when you were like, I have to defend the faith because somebody's life is at stake, somebody's in jeopardy of hell. But yelling and arguing and going back and forth and not even listening. I don't care if this brother cussed you out for 2 minutes. You should have been able to sit there and listen to it because you're filled with the Holy Spirit. You have the fruits of the Spirit. You have self-control. Do you know that bishop, there's pastors that'll come in here with no emotional regulation. I'll just be looking at them because you're not going to move me. You know, I'll drag them and I'll say what I got to say. But as a minister, because I was an ordained minister, it's no different from my child coming in here upset and angry. And he may even be cussing, not cussing at me, but he may be upset. But if I did what you did, I'd be like, hold up, son, you yelling right now. You yelling at me. Let the boy get what he needs to get out so that I can give him the love, the patience, the care. Because what you're looking at right now, this is a space full of some people that have been hurt by ministers that are triggered by your very presence. And so if you're saying that they need God or they need him, the first thing is you listen. Even when people are in therapy or counseling, they don't say, hold up, I'm a counselor. You got to respect me. I don't need all that cussing. And I'll say this last part. I was also a certified principal. So when I went through that internship, there were kids that were coming there upset, cussing. I can't be throwing around, hey, I'm a principal. I need to listen so that I need to be slow to speak and quick to hear. It's like you're not hearing any hurt, you're not hearing pain, you're not hearing anything other than the next scripture or the next Bible, whatever that you've been conditioned and programmed to speak. That's where we're coming from. Go ahead, Mo. No.
Okay, I didn't have a problem with anybody saying what they believe or what they think, but my question is, pastors go to church every Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm. Who
ministered to the pastor?
Do you want to answer that, Reggie? Because some of them do have coverings and some of them do have pastors. Not all of them do. Some of them are under, some of them have bishops that are over them. And they answer to them. When me and my ex-husband was pastoring, we sat up under Dr. Bishop Hilliard in Houston, Texas. And so we would be accountable to him, and we would meet with him monthly. We had to pay our pastor's son and daughter in the ministry dues. And we would sit under them and they would say, okay, how's the church going? How is the funds? How are you spending the funds? How is your marriage? Stuff like that. Reggie, do you have a different answer as to how that?
No, my pastor sits up under, he's a bishop, but he sits up under, he has a spiritual mentor that he uses. And sister, you're right. My focus was on the brother who did not appear or did not pose any personal issues about him needing therapy. So I focused on his comments about the religion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But let me be very clear that I being in the church, I grew up in the church, so I've seen the hurt that goes on in the church. Now I'm never one to not say that, and I think that's why there was a falling away. God saw the hurt in the church, and did nothing about it. Now listen to this. Well, he did nothing about it, and he did nothing about it. He allowed the church. Right. He allowed the church to lose its member.
I'll say this too, Reggie, whatever you're doing. And then Goddess, I'm going to let you go. Mo, you went. Okay. Goddess, I'm going to let you go. And it's not even about church hurt or that guy was hurt. Nobody said he was hurt. I said that there is a room full of people that are on different places when it comes to the church. And some people just woke up and they're just upset, maybe angry. They're tired of people being lied to. So it doesn't have to be about hurt, but it doesn't matter how anybody's responding. Did you hear what I was saying, Reggie?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I heard exactly what you said.
yeah, no, I'm not saying he was hurt at all. He could have just been emotional, just passionate, but not all of us was church hurt. I went to seminary and woke up. So Goddess, can you go ahead and go? Right.
Yes, thank you so much for
Sure,
having me. And
sure.
I admire your patience and your gentleness,
Yeah.
the way you are conducting yourself right now.
Yes, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
To Mr. Reggie. So I would say this religion, this entire religion, the whole book, Jesus, God, the white man, he absolutely gave it to us. He gave it to us. We had our own little slave Bible. He gave it to our ancestors. Before we came to America on those ships, we did not practice Christianity at all. We had our own spiritual systems that we practiced, and we communicated with our ancestors for enlightenment and blessings and things like that. That's where we got our power from. So, are you okay with knowing that we weren't Christians coming from Africa? To go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've read They Came Before Columbus. I've watched all of Roots. I've read The Destruction of Black Civilization. I'm not no Europeanized minister by no means. If you were to go to the University of Cincinnati, my picture is on the wall for battling the university for an African American Culture and Research Center. That as president of the United Black Student Association, that I led a fight for our students. So I definitely understand what you're saying, though, sister. But the question then becomes, then why did God allow us to be here? I mean, if the ancestral spiritual relationship is what we had, and why did God allow Africans to help Europeans enslave Africans? So those are some questions, but for me, the answer is that we are a special people, that God used us for a dispensation of his spiritual revelation for this period of time to come to this country and to overcome the demons here for whatever reason. I'm becoming more and more, well, let me stop right there. But we say that when it comes to the religion about what the white man gave us, but we say nothing about, most of us went to some sort of European school. Most of black students who were any college that I went to, whether it was black or HBCU, didn't take studies in black studies. We don't say nothing about this white tongue that we speak. None of you have spoken to me in any kind of African language, or saying that you've deconstructed yourself from the European language or the European look.
Let me tell you why, though, because the English language is not tied to our salvation and tied to our life. It's tied to hell or heaven. But here's the thing. When you say most Christians, who's inferior? That's your own mindset. If you feel like you're inferior, because I don't feel like I'm inferior to white people.
By that, I'm saying, by what I'm saying is, it's tied to our perceived, and I didn't use the right language.
Okay.
It's tied to our perceived inferiority complex that we had. And we know we have it. My daughter is very dark skinned. At 10 years old, I had to have this conversation with her in the 2000s about colorization, because everybody in schools was like, hey, blackie, 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 whatever, right? We still have this. You are light skinned, and on most black men's line of beauty, you would rank about an A, not just because they would see you beautiful, but because you're light skinned.
I'm sorry, Mr. Reggie. I don't mean to cut you off.
Up as a people.
Okay.
That's my point.
And because of the church. But go ahead, Goddess.
I asked a particular question, and I just wanted to bring to Mr. Reggie's attention how many pivots, how many stutters he had to explain it.
He's nervous.
My question, and he still didn't answer my question. So I'm assuming you're okay because we speak English. That I just want you to know that we weren't Christians coming from the ships that they brought us here.
No,
and are you comfortable with going ahead and practicing the religion that they used to harm your ancestors, basically?
I'm good with practicing the religions that got us free, because whatever got us on them slave ships didn't stop us from getting on them slave ships. So God had something different. God had to make a different move for us here.
Okay, so Reggie, but do you understand?
That's my answer to the question.
Okay, I'm gonna let Truth Seeker know, but Reggie, you know that's all stuff that you learned and been conditioned to believe. Like that's not naturally, you weren't born with that. That's something that you were indoctrinated with. And I will add this. You said that most Christians' lives are better than non-Christians' lives. I guarantee you, everybody will type in these comments. Reggie, I was in a church for 25 years and was with an abusive pastor. When I came out of the church, I got rid of 4 sicknesses that I had without God and without prayer by doing the work. I got out of debt after the church. I was able to buy my own first home as a single mother when I divorced the pastor man after the church. I have peace after the church. Every crime committed against me was in the church. And I'm married to a man who's never raised his voice, never raised his hand, provider, all the things. So you can't say that most Christians' lives are better because they come over here. Christians come into my chat asking for help because they went to their church and their church couldn't help them. They're coming to deconstruction and they're saying, can you help me with a GoFundMe after I've told them to stop giving? I have a GoFundMe. No, go find your pastor is what I tell them. And I wrote that in the book. Don't come asking for a GoFundMe. Go find your pastor because that's who you've been giving to. So for you to say that their lives are better, that's absolutely false. Go sit at a church right now. And when they benedict, especially in the Black community, you're going to see a lot of obesity. You're going to see a lot of people walking out slow because they're sick. You're going to see a lot of people struggling with oxygen tanks. I've seen pastors sitting in the pulpit, and pastors really get mad about this. Most pastors are obese and gluttonous and full of sickness. You can't tell if they're hooping or about to pass out. So that's a whole lot. We will never agree on that Christians' lives are better, because it's not. They sit in church for 4 or 5 hours. I'm just going to talk about us. Sit in church 4 or 5 hours. Then you go and sit and eat crap, fried food at a restaurant or the church 3 o'clock service. Go sit at a job for 40, 60 hours a week. Most pastors can't race me, can't run me. That's a lie. I healed myself from high blood pressure, fibroids, allergies, okay, IBS after the church. And people will tell you now today that they are doing better after the church. That's why the book is called Empty the Pews, but at the bottom it says to heal, thrive, and recover. So I can't, yeah.
That's not my story.
Right.
Right. My story is I was selling cocaine and using crack and in the streets, and almost lost my life in the streets. And so it was the transformation, and it was God that saved my life and brought me into a place.
Hold on, let him finish.
Into a place of of like believers, where my life could change and become better. And when I say that, if you look at the statistics, Christian families versus non-Christian families. Number one, we have a higher marriage rate in Christian families than non-Christian families.
Not true.
Hold on. Truth Seeker.
We have a higher income rate in Christian families than non-Christian families. Because Christian families more so are pushing marriage. So we still struggling. We're not where we're supposed to be
because of the church. It's been. Let me say this, Reggie, and I'm going to let Truth Seeker go so we can wrap up. Reggie, the reason why collectively Black people are not doing well is because they keep giving their money to a building and they're not getting a return on that. If you are in debt, you don't have a savings, and you can't even help the next person, why are we giving to the church? That's why we are not. Because how much money do they take in a year? Billions of dollars. And look at the Black community. That's why.
Okay, now I'm gonna debate that point. That little 10%, keep your money. Keep your money. That money.
Y'all hear that?
No, listen. You know why? You know why the black community is struggling? Because they love Black and Miles. Because they love to smoke weed. Because they love to buy big cars and fancy this and fancy. And it has nothing to do with what they're giving to what they give to the churches is nominal.
I'm talking about church folk. I'm talking about churchgoers. I'm talking about churchgoers.
The black community is struggling because of non-believers. And if more people would believe Christ and the church, our community would be doing better.
I'll let you go.
Instead of blaming the one institution that we have to help us have to change our conduct, we want to blame somebody else because we want to sleep in till 1 o'clock.
Truth
and
seeker.
We want to do anything and everything else, and they don't blame what goes on in that little bit of money that goes into the church house.
Reggie, I was talking about church folk. I was talking about hold on. Truth seeker's gonna go, and then boss man. But Reggie, I was talking about church folk. I wasn't talking about people that don't go to church. I was talking about church folk that go to church, don't have a savings, and they don't have investment portfolio, and they do not have, they can't help the next person because they're always in my chat. That's what I'm saying. So
that's true.
That's what I was saying.
Job of financial literacy.
Exactly, because most pastors don't have financial literacy, so they can't teach it. That's why they buy buildings and land that they can't afford and then make the people pay for it. So Truth Seeker, you go next, and then Boss Man, you'll go. Go Truth.
Yeah. Hello, host and panel.
Hello.
This is really hard for me to hear this gentleman talk like this. It's depressing me that in 2026, somebody is still believing that Jesus saves and he heals and he's coming to do whatever he's going to say he'd do in his word. I want to ask Reggie 2 questions. You said when we were brought over here against our wills, we were doing better. In what aspect do you feel that we benefited from being brought over here?
In what aspect do I feel that nothing happens that God has not ordained? So So I'm not sidestepping anything.
It makes it worse. God ordained 400 years of slavery.
He did for whatever reason. For God's reason. I don't know it. I don't understand it. I'm not with. Who am I? I'm just a speck on this earth.
But you said we did
better. I don't know the mind of God, but we're here.
That's what they want you to do. Think less of yourself.
So honestly, why would we be here if God didn't want us to be here? If there is a God.
If there is. Okay, Boss Man, go for it. You had a second question? Go ahead, Truth. Ask your second.
It's real quick. You believe, Reggie, God is a healer, right? Most Christians say God is a healer. He does this, he does that. All we have to do is pray for him, right? Pray to him, correct? Reggie?
I'm trying to tap in. Okay.
God is a healer?
God is a healer, yes.
He's the ultimate healer. Can you explain to me when Bishop T.D. Fakes got sick in church, why did they call the ambulance and rush him to the hospital?
Because God has given human beings knowledge and that's a part of it.
So why do we need pastors if we can just do it ourselves?
God, hold on. You asked me a question.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Truth, let him answer. Truth, let him answer. Let him answer the question.
God has a relationship with man. He's always used man to facilitate his healing where he decides to heal.
That makes no sense.
And sometimes healing isn't what we desire it to be.
That makes no sense at all.
So God intervenes, facilitates his work through mankind, through us as a.
Why did they have to rush him to the hospital? Why did they have to rush him to the hospital?
I don't know anything about his medical condition. Obviously, they needed to get him to a physician. To a physician.
But here's what she's asked. Well, here's what she's saying though. This is another reason why we are all waking up, is because pastors want to get paid, but they can't lay hands and heal the sick. No miracles that Jesus did is taking place in the church like that. And a pastor said, no, a pastor even said himself, no, healings are not taking place at the altar. Somebody should have been able, they didn't even know.
I don't know what pastor would say that, but healings are taking place.
We're not talking about natural. Hold on, Reggie. Hold on, because we don't want to hear a lot of the, the preaching stuff. We've already heard it. You have to hold on, listen. Right, but here's the thing: you have to tap into your humanity. I don't know if you've never heard that before, because that came up and I made it up in my head. Try to tap into your humanity over Christianity. Everything you say is an answer that we've already expected. It's going to be God, 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 God. We know that, but here's what we're saying: critically think. You're talking about healings are taking place. No, pastors are not telling people to lift their hands so they can skeet oil all over them, and then a cancer goes right then and there. That's not happening, because listen to what I'm saying, Reggie, and then I'm gonna let Boss Man go. Because if it was happening, we'd see it. We wouldn't see the foolishness that we see on these TikToks that everybody keeps sharing with everybody. We don't see people getting out of wheelchairs like that. Oh, Reggie, let me finish. I'm gonna have to mute you. Let me finish. Okay. We're not seeing what Jesus did. We're not healing. And if you say, if I lay hands on you, then 2 weeks later she comes back. Oh, I got a report from the doctor that I'm healed. Your body naturally healed itself. The doctor gave you medication. That's not what we see in the Bible. It said, and in that moment, and at that very time, he walked away with his healing. She walked away with no issue of blood. It was instant healing. It was power at that time. And so she's saying that somebody should have been able to lay hands so we could see the miracle, so that we could believe. Because he said it's because of the miracles that you would believe. Some people don't need it. Some people need it. So we're talking. So Reggie, because you're probably new here today, this is what we talk about, is that pastors demand an offering, demand a salary, but we don't see any miracles like that. You can say they're getting healed all you want to. No, that's natural healing. That's what it is. Because if I'm telling you, we would see it. We would see it right then and there. I got to move on our time. Boss Man, go. Go ahead, Boss Man.
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry, I had to turn my mic on.
That's okay.
All right. So yeah, I just want to talk for a second. You know what? And my thing is, the religious psychosis has gotten literally out of hand, right? So I'm a nurse, right?
Okay.
So we talk about the mental illnesses. So what happened is, when you talk to yourself and you say you have imaginary friends that's not there, you haven't seen whatsoever, but they're giving you information, people think about you as crazy. They think you need help. But there's no difference between you and God. That and God. It's a religious psychosis. So my thing is too, when you see pastors, like the one pastor that said, hey, he seen a little kid walk in the church. And he say, and the kid like, what happened? He's like, I'm not no Uber. That's completely crazy to me. When what is the Weinstein, the one pastor, when Hurricane Katrina was going on, a hurricane was going on, and they tried to seek shelter in his church, and he didn't let them. He didn't open the church to him. That's crazy, because if somebody's really giving you something to project on people in the goodness, you wouldn't do that. It's so fake. It's crazy. And another thing is too, my BLK community, please. Christianity was not ours from the beginning. So, and this is my thing is, when we were on that plantation, we were punished for leaving the plantation. We were punished for knowing how to read or be smart. But guess what? The only place we were able to go was to where? Church. The only thing we was able to read was what? The Bible.
In certain parts. So only certain parts.
To me. So at the end of the day, people don't know, and you're older than me. I'm 35. I know about King Leopold II. I know about the letter to the Congo. I know about all of that. And obviously a lot of y'all don't know about it, because if y'all did, and I know about the book, How to Convert a Negro to a Christian. I know about all of that. All of this. Exactly. I love you for that, host. I love you for that. So at the end of the day, we have it in our plain sight face. And if we cannot accept that, we have given in. We have given in 100%. I need to know where you got that from too. By the end of the day,
okay. Send me a message before I forget.
And we need to wake up, because the way y'all speaking is crazy. And y'all say, oh, it's spiritual healing, We didn't have phone calls to people that's saying to the church, hey, I need help with my baby. I need help with paying the rent. I need help with this. I gave money to you. I need help. Can you help me out? No, I'm a pray for you. If that's all I get, I can't give you anything. I seen a pastor say, hey, we need 22,000 from each person. This guy's mom came up with, I think it was like $1,600 or $1,800, and he said, see, you not listening. I said $2,000, and she was like, here, this is all I got. Oh my gosh, I wanted to jump through that screen. And when a pastor said, hey, close that door, I need $40,000, that door ain't opening. Come on. Or when you say, oh, you ain't got money for communion, oh, we got Cash App. Come on. It's not that serious. It's not that serious at all. And you got pastors bringing Rolls Royces onto the stage and saying, look, these are red bottoms and this and that. Da, 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 da. I'm like, that's why we like Drewski so much, because he's giving it in a way that people understand. You know what? And I'm a land right here. At the end of the day, people, if we're going to use a community, use it for ourselves and rely on the people, because that's all we have. That's it. That's all we have is us. That's at the end of the day.
I appreciate it, boss man. I appreciate it. Yes, you can get how to make a. I need to give you an honorarium because you're up here preaching. Okay.
Man, I got more, but at the end of the day, man, I woke up at 16. I came. My father's a preacher, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the black sheep. So, it was like one day I forgot what scripture it was. It was something like, the woman's supposed to mind the husband or the man, and they supposed to basically just shut up. Yeah. I'm like, yo, they don't preach about this. Yeah. They don't preach about this. So I went to the pastor. I said, hey, listen, you don't preach about this. I've been coming here for so long and you never talked about this. He said he said no. I said, why? He said, because it will raise controversy in the church. And I know now that a lot of the churches, they're speaking to a lot of women. A lot of their audience is women. A lot of men stopped going to church because they didn't woke up. Right. Oh, very good.
Man, I don't know what that is. Man M. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, so let me say this before you go, man. Reggie at the top, he's an ordained minister, and we are talking to him. As we empty the pews, empty their pockets, talking about the church, please mute your microphones real quick. Let me just do that because some people are just coming in. And we are church boycotting churches that are not doing anything for the community. And I do not debate Christians or church folk. Everyone up here is either aligned to deconstruction in some way other than a minister or a church leader. So go ahead, man.
The way I come at it, I want to speak to the brother. I've been sorry. I have to go.
Okay.
If something will benefit the Black community, it is not allowed in the Black community. If you study sanctions, how they sanction countries, you will learn quite a bit. How is it that you can get financing for a multi-million-dollar church in the Black community? Hood, dope, liquor, poverty, everywhere. And a multi-million-dollar church is sitting there. The bank financed that. Mm-hmm. But you cannot get financing for a health food store, for a mall, for something else that would benefit. It's because you're being sanctioned.
Come on.
And the Black church serves the purpose of those who sanction us.
Come on.
For example,
let him finish and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Go ahead. You got to go, Reggie. Reggie, how much time you have? You said you got to go.
Yeah, I just want to.
Hold on. Let him finish. Let him finish, though. Let him finish. Go ahead, man.
The sanctioning is obvious, and I study economics on a very deep level. The sanctioning is obvious, and what sanctioning is the withholding of the financial pipeline from when they sanction, for example, Russia. They're not letting Russia get money for certain things. So we are being sanctioned from developing real economic base, but you can get an Arab, an Indian, an Asian to be able to get financing for a store. The only thing the black man can get finance for in the black community is a church. And that is where I landed at.
Man,
does not benefit us. And that's the reason why we can get funding for it.
High five. Go ahead, Reggie.
I'm gonna end on this.
Okay.
This whole deconstruction thing, everybody here, we would not even be here if it wasn't for the leaders that picked, the leaders of the church that gave their lives for our people. So you tell me any other institution who has given more in terms of blood, in terms of money, in terms of being jailed and sacrificed for our people.
I got an answer for you. I got an answer for you.
It is the church.
I got an answer for you, Reggie.
It is the church. It is the church that needs to grow. It needs to do better. But I'm not here to apologize for white supremacy or anything. So that's not what I'm not here to do that. I'm here to speak that we need a physical institution that we control. We need if you don't want to believe in Christ, you're gonna believe in something.
Ourselves. Hold on. Let me tell you this. Let me do this, Reggie. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna believe in ourselves, but let me tell you this. When you talk about the leaders, I'm sure you're talking about Malcolm X, Martin, and all of them. They were not fighting and giving back to the community for Jesus and for the Bible and for God. They were fighting civil rights. Back then, the church had more purpose than it does now. A pastor got upset with me talking about, armor bearers. Well, then why can't pastors have armor bearers? Why do they need it? What are they doing to where their lives are so threatened? Unless they're going to get robbed from all the money that they've been taking from people and buying cars and jewelry, then they need protection. But back then, if you're talking about Martin and Malcolm, they were on a different fight. They weren't fighting the white man so that we can believe in Jesus and believe in God. They were at war so that we could have, equal rights. So that doesn't align to anything. And then if you talk about black colleges and they've been given, that's for education. We're talking about the community. And so what we are doing as black people, they're going to church, sitting in those buildings, and they're not getting a ROI, a return on their investment, but yet the pastors are still flourishing. And then you mentioned the what do you call it? Please mute your mics. You mentioned, some of these churches are broke. Some of these churches are barely making it. Then they need to close their doors so that people can use those funds to help themselves and help each other. Close the doors. That's the one thing that Marvin Sapp got right. Yes, some of these churches need to close their doors. They're not even thriving. They're struggling. And then you talk about financial literacy. Pastors don't have financial literacy. If they did, they would not go buy land and they would not go buy buildings that they cannot afford and then put the burden on the people to buy it. And see, what you're talking about is God, Jesus. And we already know that you're indoctrinated, your program to believe that, Reggie. First of all, I do thank you for sitting here and staying the whole time. I know it started off rough between us, but hey, here we are. This is what it's about. We don't want to hear no more preaching. We don't want to hear no more scriptures when we are like we are. And for you to say, oh, the reason why is because people are on Black and Miles, people like this. I'm talking about the church folk. The church folk are the broke folk. Honestly, because they are the ones that are most church, sitting in these churches every Sunday. And I'm going to tell you, Reggie, what I mean by that. They come in our chat. They tell us we're going to hell. They tell us this, and we're being used by the devil. We need a pastor. Then I say, okay, boom. There's some people here that have a need. Well, I don't have any money to give them, but I can pray for them. One said the other day, and people that are in this live, they were on the live. Oh, well, I can find him a church home. Another lady said, well, I can send them to the food bank. And then my husband was like, well, when your pastor asks for that next offering and that sacrificial offering, that's my husband right there. Hey, my good people, you don't tell your pastor, well, I'll go to the food bank. You give your tithe, you give that money, the money you don't have. And everything that Boss Man was talking about is in this book. I wrote about Marvin Sapp, Marvin Winans, and all those different offerings. So the reason why we are where we are is, yes, because of our parents and our grandparents who were conditioned and programmed to just give to these churches instead of building wealth for us. And I will say it, and I don't care who gets mad about it. We would not have to go, and I'll let you go. Who's next? Diamond, if you want to go, or whichever one. TSCH, I don't know what that is. And Pastor Reggie had to go. We would not have had to go and boycott Asian businesses if we were taking care of our own businesses, and it's not in the church. Back then, and I'll land on this. Back then, yes, the church was needed because they were going there to have meetings, secret meetings. Yeah, he said he has to go. I don't know. And then they were there to talk about the rights and the things that people were going through as a community. Now, what community activists do we see in the church other than, like in Houston, what's his name? Quanell X. That's all I really see. And people have even said that Black Panthers aren't even really doing anything. We don't see pastors out here in the street like MLK was and like Malcolm X was, even though even Martin was like, dang, I didn't threw my people up into the fire. He regretted everything that he was trying to do. So we shouldn't even be trying to boycott an Asian business. What we should be doing is taking our money right now. It's 106 of you. Every last one of you, if you stop giving to the church, if it was 106 church members, and say, okay, you know what debts do I have? I need to fix my credit. Okay, so what investment portfolio do I have? Who have I helped? Who have I gave food and money to? And Reggie, one thing, if you're here or not, I asked you and you still haven't answered me. Howdy. Like they say, you still haven't answered my question. I said, who did you help today? You never answered that question. I asked you, who did you put money into on today? What difference did you make other than wanting to preach to us the scriptures? Okay, so let's see. I think TSCHO, you want to go next?
Make one quick point on what you just said. First of all, I read your book.
Oh.
And I've been saying it's a page turner. I've been telling people it is a page turner.
Thank you.
And it is. And it's very thorough, well written. I was pleasantly surprised because so many of our books are just put together so terribly that this was a very good work. But the brother was talking about the church. Another thing about the church is back then, in those days, Martin Luther King's days, the church was not a family business like it is now. It was owned and operated by the community. The preachers were accountable to the community. So now you have family businesses, so they cannot afford to get involved in our in the real struggle. But anybody who haven't read that book, you need to get it. It's a resource, a reference book, a text that will really put you up on what's going on.
Thank you. Yes, you can get it there at imdorian.com. And then I'll let you go, TSCHO. And what I was saying about churches today, about having armor bearers, and I talk about what an armor bearer is in the book. An armor bearer literally means slave. And so they want 20 armor bearers, and the church only have 15 people, half your family and your friends walking around you, and you got 5 people sitting in the audience. And then they want us to give offerings and give money, but they're not doing anything to need protection. Back then, yes. But what is it actually doing to help us? Go ahead, TSCOH. Go.
Yeah, that's just Shonda.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, no, I wanted to tell him he left already, but just listening to him.
He might still be in the chat though. Sometimes they don't leave.
Oh, okay. But it's Christianity started off as a movement, and personally, I don't think that there was a movement behind anything real. I believe that it was, people who came together. The books that they put together, it was all Christians putting that stuff out. I don't, even though they say scholars say that the man existed, I don't think he existed. I think he's more of a literary device. And what Reggie and a lot of Christians don't understand is that Christianity is so traditional now. It's more like an armchair type religion type thing. It's not a movement anymore, and it's losing big time.
Right.
And this is actually a movement, and it's a movement where there's like so much involved. People are actually deconstructing in so many different ways from this religion.
Right.
And when you open that Bible and you begin to deconstruct, it gets even more interesting.
Right.
Because you actually start to leave the realm of belief in the God and everything about it. So the things that he was saying, you hear it all the time from Christians. It's the same old song.
Right.
And gradually you're going to see more and more people leaving the churches.
And here's where he was going when he was talking about, he said he originally started saying, I'm here to defend the faith. And for that entire hour, how long he had been on there, he was trying to defend his faith. But what about our community? The first thing he said to me when he came in the chat was, how is it that the church always get blamed for everything that happens in the community? Well, that's the thing. Nothing's happening in the community. And so he's saying that he mentioned the community, but yet he didn't have anything to defend the community. He just wanted to defend his faith. And that's where we are. That's why we're here to empty the pews, empty their pockets, church boycotting churches that are not doing anything for the community. Thank you for sharing.
Actually, Dorian,
yes.
I just wanted to interject. He was more concerned, it seemed like, his daughters. Because as you recall, it was about the twerking.
And I didn't, thank you for bringing that up.
And the black girls being called blackity black.
Right.
I think those are where those issues are stemming.
Thank you for bringing that up. And Diamond, I'm gonna let you go. So when he said that, oh, well, I jumped up here because I heard that there was twerking in the church. I never said that. I said that the music that is being played today, that is like number one, like the song Bend Over, if y'all have heard that one, then the other one, Do It To Me, Do It Daddy. And everybody just, doing all of that. I said their parents are all going to church and their parents went to church. So if church worked, and if all that time spent 3 o'clock services for our grandparents and our mothers, why is it that their offspring is doing what they're doing? Why is society like that? I'm talking about, I was about to go there too. Spin that shit. You got that one. And then some people got in the chat and said they looked up the song while I was talking about it and was like, oh my God. Yeah, all they're talking about is cooter, taking the D, take all the D, right? And stick it to me, stick it in and stick it. That's what's number one right now. But your parents have all they're all in the church, and your grandparents. So if church worked, then we would have a different result, right? They are twerking in the church for Jesus. They are dropping it low for Jesus. Drop it. Y'all heard that song, Drop It Low for Jesus.
And that's why I think he was in his feelings, because
right.
His daughters is twerking and dropping it probably low.
Right.
So
and
he's like, if the church ain't helping, so what
right.
am I supposed to do?
Right. I wasn't even saying that. Yeah. Go ahead, Diamond.
I think what the problem is, a lot of people don't understand there's a great awakening.
Yes.
The great awakening is called waking up from this nightmare and the lies that they have told us.
Right.
I heard this Caucasian lady up here talking about they put the Bible out for us, so we can be enslaved to that, enslaved into them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they said serve the master and obey your master and all this.
Right.
Where in the Bible that God tell you to obey man like that?
Yeah.
When he didn't even tell us to do that with him.
Correct.
He's told us we have a free will. So why do I need to serve you? And when I started to wake up and see how the church do people and they lie to people, I got molested in church. They swept that stuff under the rug and didn't want to be honest about they had rapists sitting up in the church. And it was somebody in the church on a deacon board. But they swept that under the rug like that was nothing. But it happened to me. And nobody went to jail for that. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the church besides just getting money. There's the pedophiles. There's so many things going on in the church that we know nothing about.
Correct.
It's been hidden behind Jesus, or they wear this mask they put on. But when you go into church, it's no different from being out on the street. I feel more safer out on the street than I do somebody in the church. And I don't go to nobody's church.
Correct.
I don't care about nobody. You ain't going to get me in nobody's church. Like you said, I heal my own self. I used to have asthma. I used to go to church. They used to put this stuff on. Oh, I'm healing you from this, and this is what you got. They were putting stuff on you and have you going home believing that stuff and have you claiming these spirits that wasn't even supposed to be claiming that stuff. That's why I don't let people put their hands on me, pray for me, none of that stuff. Keep your hands off of me.
Period.
And I don't walk up in people's church. I don't care because I have my own spiritual life. I am more better of a person than I ever been right now where I'm at right now with God. And it's a spiritual walk with just me and my inner God. I don't have to, nobody can tell me how I serve God.
Right.
Because my life had totally changed from a better person to where I was at in a church where I was just all disfigured, following these people who didn't even know how to get to God themselves. And it's very important that we realize that this great awakening that's happening is God is revealing all the lies has been told to us from the beginning of creation. And they've been lying. And it's time for all of us to wake up.
Right.
Because if you don't, just like that young man, he's going down that same doctrine that they done brainwashed him with. He can't even get from amongst that because that's all he knows. And he keep repeating what he heard somebody else say. And he don't even have his own mind and his own identity to do for himself.
Right.
To believe what God do you? I don't have to believe believe you're God. You're
God
God.
To save our souls. He wanted to save our souls from burning in the lake of fire.
Right.
Yeah, how many babies right here being demolished and out of here, and people are doing all this stuff to these kids, sodomizing these kids in a cult, and you church people ain't even out there saying nothing about this stuff because you're a part of that cult. You are Freemason too. So Freemasons doing this crap, but you're doing it too. You under Freemason.
Yeah.
You need to stop lying.
Yeah.
You need to stop hiding behind Freemason because that's what you're doing. Freemasons behind all this stuff, and they don't want to tell the truth. But I know about this because I've been in church. I used to be a pastor's wife. I know all about Freemason behind all this crap. You ain't gonna fool me and lie to me no more. And I tell people every time I get up here, I'm gonna tell the truth, whether you like it or not. Freemasons behind all the Christianity and all that stuff, and they need to know that. Wake up before it's too late.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Boss man, we got a few minutes, so make it quick as you can. KG, you can shut the hell up. How about that? Go ahead, boss man.
Oh no. I just wanted to say all of this, people really are not waking up, because even if they see the truth is in their face, they still refuse to take the truth, because what I think is they just need guidance. And a lot of people you see that believe in God now, or whatever the case may be, they went through something they made decisions, and they need something to guide them. They need something to hold on to. I don't know if it was a parent, a situation, or something, or whatever the case may be. It's people who can't critically think for themselves, who say that, you can't critically think, when critically thinking is questioning and getting your own interpretation and actually asking questions. But when you say, as a Christian, I don't question God, or I don't question this, and I don't question that, I just let it be. It's crazy to me. Crazy to me. And
here's the thing, love you dance. I don't know what you're talking about. Most of us have been to seminary. We know all that stuff. So that's y'all's problem. And whoever KG is, who have you helped today financially? Like, who have you helped? I'd rather believe in man than believe in God. Where's God? What has he done? What have you done today? Who have you helped today financially? Who did you get saved? Because you Christians are supposed to be out here saving souls. Who did you bring to the Lord? Who did you disciple? Who did you get off the street today and help them get a job? Okay, then shut the hell up, because we're tired of hearing all that stuff. Y'all don't move us. Y'all don't move us with any of that. So as we are about to wrap up, hey, my good people, did you have anything before we get ready to close? Who did you save? Go ahead.
Man, it was good. I chimed in as best as I could. Appreciate everyone that stepped up to the panel to share their insight. It's interesting. I caught the last end of Reggie's little toddler rant and whatever he was going through. I think he just needs a bottle and go sit down in the corner somewhere. But other than that, when I started hearing folk like that talk about how Christianity is the foundation of whatever they want to say is the foundation for, I always go back and I start looking at just the ancient roots within itself. And if we want to call any religion the foundation of humanity, we have to go all the way back to Hinduism. Hinduism is like 100,000 BCE.
Thank you, Jackson.
Christianity only came around 30 CE. Dude, that's a lot of time. And as we all know, those of us that have deconstructed, all these stories that's in this book they call the Bible are stories that have been told centuries, decades before the Bible was even written.
Exactly.
It's just a book full of fairy tales that they have tricked in us to believing that our oppressor endorsed to give and gave to us to control us.
Yes.
But then we have some people like Reggie that don't have an identity and has literally wrapped his entire life around this book, and it controls him. Yeah. And some of us have experienced that. I've experienced it as well. And I allowed that book to literally control every movement of my life. And now that I'm deconstructed, I'm so grateful, because I was sick in the head, that spiritual psychosis, and didn't even really realize it. But it's so wonderful and so great to hear like-minded people come into this live and share your different experiences and just literally continue to promote freedom within yourselves, freedom within your life, freedom within your spirit, your humanity, and just literally just using our peace of mind to orchestrate and control and create our everyday lives.
So I'll say this as we wrap up. Thank you. And y'all, if you didn't know, he is a pastor. His dad is a pastor. He deconstructed as a pastor's son, as you would say. He was an ordained minister, ordained worship leader. And he's been out for 2.5 years, although I say he was already deconstructed while he was in the church. Thank you so much. I come on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time as we wrap up. But I'll tell you this, all this stuff and like love of dance. Yeah, you in the wrong space. For him to say no one is listening to you, you're literally listening to me because you're commenting. Literally. The foolishness that people like to display. Thank you so much, Shirley. You was right. Who have you mistreated today? So, right? As we empty the pews, empty their pockets, take your time, your money, and your resources back from these churches, especially from people like Love of Dance. Yeah. Take it back from people that are in the church every single way. Take it back on Sundays, Wednesdays. First of all, you church folks shouldn't even be over here. It's Wednesday. That's why we come on here while y'all are in boring Bible study and not over here trying to preach to us and being out of place. Are your deconstruction clinics via Zoom? They are via myschool.com. Life After Church. Message me and I'll send you the link to come into the school.com where we actually do the work and we're not interrupted by the people that we left. We left the church walls so that we wouldn't be talked too crazy. We left the church walls so that we would not have to deal with these type of people, but here they are. So then we have to go ahead and drag them and tow them up out of here. We don't have no respect for you as a pastor, a bishop, or anything with a collar if you come in here with disrespect, okay? You're going to be Michael, you're going to be John, period. Just like I said, I wouldn't stand up if Pastor Bishop Jakes walked in here. How you doing, Mr. Jakes? Thomas, can I call you Tom? That's what it is over here. So love of dance, well, you have no love because you came in here with the bullshit. And that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. Okay, yes, please message me so I don't forget, and I will send you the link so we could do one-on-ones and face-to-face. No hate like Christian love. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Thank you, Instagram, for hanging out with me. Thank you, YouTube, for hanging out with me. Yes, my book is at iamdorian.com. It's called Empty the Pews, Empty the Pockets, and that's what they're really mad about. Good night. I'll tell you what's in here, how they're in love with church. That's what Reggie and all of them, they're just in love with church. They're not in love with God. Colonized condition, why you do not need a pastor. That's verse 3. I call them verses. What is the purpose of a pastor? And how they tell you you need to be in the house of the Lord. How to deal with the wolfling, aka pastor. That's why I will drag them and tell them where they can shove that Bible, right? No lube. Pastors need to help the community. Why do we have to pay a pastor? I'll go on and on. The lovely church mothers with masculine energy. We talk about all of that. Being sexually assaulted. And like my sister said, how she was, sexually assaulted in the church. I was too. But I found out that when there's a SMEX crime against you as a minor, there is no statute of limitations. So last month I went and I filed criminal charges against a minister. Civil charges will be filed as well. And I can't speak any more on it. I've already done a story time. I've already done a part 1, part 2, part 3. And it was my cousin's husband. I sure did. Me and my husband, he drove me down there to my hometown where it happened. And I filed those charges. Yes and amen. How about that? Okay. And let's see what else. We talk about the fake role of a first lady, because I was also married to a pastor. And so I talk about marrying the pastor man, being used by the church. Is so much in here. This is a place for us to heal, thrive, and recover. All we have to do when they talk about Black community before we go is take your time, your money, your gifts. If you have a gift, monetize it, and the money goes to you first. And then you buy and you pay whatever bills, debt you have first. Get yourself financially straight. So you don't have to depend, because if every one of those pastors were to get drawn and taken away onto an island and they were never here, we're not going to crash out. We're going to make it. We're going to be just fine. Just fine. All right. So let's boycott the churches that are not doing things. You boycott all of them and just take care of yourself. Anything else before we leave? Anything else? If you didn't get a chance, come back to me Monday. What's up, babe?
No, I was just thinking, if all them pastors do get swept up and take to an island, I'll make sure I send some cameras over there and see how much Jesus they took with them.
Shoot, take all of it. They should have got raptured. Yeah, they should have got raptured last September and October when that TikTok prophet told them that Jesus was coming back. I just wish. That's the one time I wish it was all real. Mondays, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I do random live like on Saturday morning, things like that. But Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, when they should be in boring Bible study and on Mondays. All right. Get right, church, leave us alone. Oh, get right, church, leave us alone. Get right, church, get right, church. Get right, church, and leave us alone. Thank y'all. See y'all later. What you doing in there? Thank you. That was the guest. We had a guest solo. That's I Am Doria Marie music. Yes. Oh, y'all, just for those that are still here, I did a music video with him. That's my husband up there in that box. It's called, what is it called? Oh, Lord, I got My Never Would. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Music. It's all the things. I am a music artist because, of course, I was a worship leader in the church. Yes. And so there's a music video out called I Never Would, and he's in it. He's the featured love feature. Yeah. And then Heal is out. That's another song that's out, music video out for that too. But you can follow that page. And this is my manifestation page, the page that I'm texting from. Let me tell you why. Because people come out of the church and the church is still in you, right? The church is still in you. That's why you probably have come out of the church. It's like, man, my money is still not right. My healing is still not there. And I teach you how to manifest. I'm a manifesting specialist. That's what I love to do, even more than deconstruction. I am Doria Marie, and we have been deconstructing religion as we're also reconstructing our lives, emptying the pews, emptying their pockets, boycotting churches that are not doing anything for the community. Merch and books are right there at iamdorian.com. All right, see y'all later. Thank you, Instagram. Goodbye, YouTube.